name is Patrick Young. Our business is Patloc Safety Systems.
Patloc Safety Systems. First of all, thank you for joining the program here today. Let's talk a little bit about what Patloc Safety Systems is. I'm thinking about something that, is going to make my bike safe.
Yeah, well, there's products for that too.
All right, tell me about what you guys are doing out there in the oil and gas world.
So yeah, we're located over here in Watford City, North Dakota, and what we do, we have designed a basically a mechanical device that we install on pumping units such as like Lufkin, Weatherford type units, and what our product does. It safely engages and disengages your pawl on the unit, or rig term the dog, on the unit without ever having to get on what we like to call the belly of the beast. Have to crawl up there and either knock them in or knock them out. And so we like to. Well, the great thing about the product does is it's kind of a one-man operation. We can completely disable that unit from outside the fence, well before, say your rig shows up and they need to throw a chain around, the flywheel or bullwheel, whatever you want to call it, so we can just close that window of, any type of potential, accident. And so, and with that, we've been in business for, roughly almost 3 years. And, we've got about 12 different models now. And so that's our forte, is just, coming up with these ideas and, inventions, if you want, to, kind of just have a safer workplace for not only the producers, but also, all the employees that work around them.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Pat Young, one of the examples I talk about many times on this program. And Mr. Young, I'll tell you the example I often describe. One of the reasons why I love the oil and gas industry is because it keeps the essence of capitalism alive. And then the example I give is you can take a roustabout working on a rig and he can figure out a new vibrating tube, and next thing you know, he's got a company and he's got a contract and he's making good money, and all that is within the course of a year's time from just working as a roustabout. And you were a former roustabout, weren't you?
Yeah, so I broke out in the oil industry in Wyoming. I've been in the industry for about 14 years now. And, then relocated to North Dakota, roustabout the entire time, chasing drilling rigs around, building tank batteries. Was actually requested to come up to North Dakota through one of my company men I previously worked for. To show some of the guys how to build some batteries and this and that, and it was about roughly 3 years ago, I just had this idea I wanted to do, and so we had that little downturn a few years ago where oil kind of fell down there pretty good, and so we had a little bit of spare time. We were still busy, and just kind of went with the idea I wanted to do, just pull the tape measure out. Didn't know exactly how it was going to work, but I had the concept down, and then just started going with it. And and within 3 days, I had the first prototype, installed it, worked the very first time. I was extremely happy that day. And it's just a good feeling when you have an idea and it works, and everything went through really, really good. And then we kind of perfected it one more time after that, and it was just on the money. And then it was just like, okay, we got to make more models, and then just kind of just took off from there. So, I think anybody with the right mind frame and a little bit of, especially vision, they can change anything they want, and in a good way. So it was a great time.
Would you technically be an inventor, wouldn't you?
Yeah. So we are patent pending in Canada and the U.S. as well, and so we're looking. We should be hearing back on that very, very soon. we talk to the attorneys every day, and we've had some great feedback from the up in Canada and in the U.S. on all of our claims and everything. So yeah, I guess you could say I've been labeled a little bit as a little bit of a local inventor, I guess you could say.
Well, yeah, I mean, it sounds to me like that's what it was. I mean, patent pending, whatever. I mean, the thing's still invented. I mean, it's kind of like...
Yeah, well, I don't like to talk myself up
yeah,
too much.
sure. Well, that's what I'm here for, is to talk that up. Why not? So, okay, so you're based in Watford. How many employees you guys have?
So we got about 6 employees right now, and about the same amount of sales reps that they run around to the different regions. A lot of them go out of state. So that's another avenue that we use to kind of branch all over the nation. And we're centralized right here in Watford. So it's working out real good. If you're a good salesman, come on down to the Patloc shop and here in Watford, give me a call at 307-689-7002. Give me a shout. We'll sit down with you and we'll work something out.
How's business down in Texas and New Mexico?
So we did a big show in Midland a little over a month ago. Great show, great people down there, and it was kind of the same response that we got up here. Was why wasn't this thing made 40 years ago? So we everything turned out pretty good down there. We made a lot of great contacts. We'll actually be going to Houston here in about 2 weeks. Got a whole week full of meetings. That's going to be very exciting. We have branched out over to Carlsbad and Hobbs, New Mexico. So people ask me how the business is going, and I just kind of say Patloc is its own. It's kind of like its own person, and it just has its own pulse, and it just kind of spreads all over the place. And we get calls from New Mexico. We shipped out a bunch of content to a workover rig service that was extremely interested in it because they just wanted to make their jobs easier, their employees safer. So it's just getting the word out there. The word's traveling pretty well, and we're excited to just kind of go all over the place with it.
Talk to me about your customer. I mean, is it primarily just oil and gas companies, or you got some ag people that could be a prospects, or is it just operators? Tell me about who your customer is.
Well, a lot of our customers are mainly oil producers. The product, the invention, was kind of sourced all the way around it. So all the major oil producers. We work with, like I said, the workover rigs. They'll sometimes they like to buy them, and it's just directly all oil filled. But we got some other ideas that is kind of in the black book for more ideas, more inventions that we want to do, especially in the gas industry. And we are working currently on a few of them. So look forward to get into that as well.
You mentioned you're out of Watford City. A lot of changes through Watford City. People down in Midland, of course, can appreciate just kind of an update from a big growing town that for during low oil times, it's not very not a lot of stuff going on. Then all of a sudden, you got a lot of trucks, white trucks coming through, that sort of thing. How's the Main Street looking in Watford? And if you're living there, is the quality of life increasing, that sort of thing?
Yeah, so we actually our shop that we bought is right on Main Street, 101 South Main Street. So if you're bored, come on down. I'll give you a free tour. But Watford itself, what I like about it, the infrastructure is caught up. They got a lot of the gas plants coming in online. So you're seeing some people, some really good people move in. That are just trying to, maybe change their lives a little bit, or just, looking to, expand their horizons, you could say, and, have, a good paying job with some really good benefits. And, the ones that, hung out and stuck around during the dips and all that, more than likely they're probably being rewarded now. And it's good to see the strong ones stick in there. But like with Watford, they got the new the high school and rec center has been done for a little bit now, but great place up there, good investment, and you're seeing just the lots are all the commercial lots are going pretty quickly. The real estate's pretty good. I'm sure they're going to have to build some more apartment complexes with all the future plants coming online and just everything else. So. And it's just a good, family-oriented town. Everyone's really super friendly. Locals are great, and it's just a good all-around place.
Hey, what do you make of the retirement that's happening? The cruise shift. They call it the great. Depends on which part of the country you're in. The Rockies, it looked like they call it the great big cruise shift that's happening, or shift change. I'm sorry, cruise shift change. And I call it the retirement issue, which is 70% of the industry is retiring by 2022, based on the numbers I've been given by the leaders in this industry. That's an issue. There's we got stuff going on politically where presidential candidates are talking about banning the industry, and you got the new Green Deal out there, and Colorado, et cetera. So you've got some idealistic-minded younger generational people coming in, and no fault of theirs. That's just the social engineering that's happening.
Sure.
I grew up on Harry the Dirty Dog. That coal and oil and gas were dirty, and that's why the dog went and hid the brush, because he didn't. He liked to have fun.
Right.
I understand some of the literature in school doesn't even have oil and gas as an option for pros and cons for kids. And so it's like, wow, we're just not even talking about it anymore. So, without getting political, without getting anything along those lines, your observations, you're part of this, you're on the younger side, you're under 50. I imagine you're under 40.
36.
Okay, 36. So, you're kind of in the middle there. You're not a millennial, but you're on the cusp of being a millennial and Gen X, I guess. Boy, that's tough.
Just call it a gray area.
Well, I feel bad for millennials because, they literally grew up where everything was the best and everything was the worst. That was the language that they grew up with. So now they get put out into the real world where they have to actually have real definitions from Webster's dictionary, and they don't know what to do. Their minds are about to explode because they're trying to get their linguistic footing. They're trying to not be a Kardashian, that type of thing. And then you got the Gen X side, which is, whatever, we don't care. Where's the pot, man? You know what I mean? So, anyway, I don't know how we got off on that, but talk to me a little bit about just how you're dealing with this change that's going on. You got, meetings lined up in Houston. I'm pretty sure they're going to be eyeing you up and down.
Yeah, no, they will, and it's expected, but I look at it, like this, it is a little unfortunate that there isn't, a little bit more direction towards the oil field as far as, an educational standpoint. That's out of my hands. This is what I can tell you about me. When I grew up, school was not my thing. It just really wasn't. My dad was in the oil industry. His dad was in the oil industry. Our whole family was in the oil industry, so I was just drawn to it. And but the thing I like about it though is you could take literally anybody and you can make a career in the oil industry. You don't have to. I mean, you can go to school and college and do the engineering and all that. But, if you just want to, buckle down and kind of get your life in order and start getting after it, the oil field's a great opportunity for that. And that's one thing I really enjoy. But, as far as, the generation, it's kind of like you said, they grew up, everything was really good or really bad, what have you. And now they're in the real world trying to figure it all out. It's just, it's hard to make a lot of sense of it. I know most of the people that work for me are younger than me. I like that. I like to be able to pass something on, some type of, whether it's information, anything that I can help, with even a younger generation or an older generation. I'm always there. So I don't really single out a lot of, because a lot of it gets so political, and you can just talk and go out in the freaking universe with it. But it's just different times, and
I guess I look at it like the one, as you were talking, I was writing down some notes, and the word entitlement comes up. And the oil industry, the thing that attracted me to it was how it gave opportunity. It gave opportunity to its employees. It gave opportunity to its community, which a lot of industries don't do. And they don't, it's always based on the vein of opportunity, and they donate when, certain churches and causes need it. But for the most part, if you've got a fundraising project, they don't give you the whole thing. They'll give you an opportunity to get it going, but you got to work a little bit too. And that's the part I liked about it, is they never really embraced entitlement as much as they embraced opportunity. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, it's spot on. If you got the drive, you got a vision where you want to go. You got your short-term goals, you got your long-term goals. You can literally accomplish anything in the oil industry if you really wanted to. And there's not many places, none I can think of off the top of my head that offers something like that. It's great pay, it's great benefits. You help the community. And it's just, But
at the same time, they give somebody like you a legitimate opportunity to kind of go and be a capitalist. That's the part that amazes me, because a lot of other corporations and companies, they'll say, no, we own that property. We own that intellectual property. Did you think of that while you were on our time? Because then we own it. Not whether you did it at home, or do you know what I mean by that? They might put up a stink or sue you, or some tech company or this and that. The oil industry is like, oh great, yeah. Do you need a contract? Because that'll help us save money.
So when we came out with Patloc, and the product started coming out, right? And we started, I just started doing the door-to-door. I was doing it all by myself, just kind of cold calling and everything. And, then I started getting the deals, but most of the time I got, a thank you. Thank you for, coming up with something, and, this thing should have been out 30, 40 years ago. And, and that's a great feeling. And that's and you don't come by those that often. And being that you did it for an industry that you love, and then the industry, kind of accepts you back into, it's just a great feeling,
Well, kind of wrapping up here a little bit, Pat Young with Patloc. He's the owner, founder, head bottle washer. Probably takes out the garbage too. Just kind of go ahead and, give yourself a little summary for the people out there listening. One of those quick elevator pitches, and then, just kind of wrap it up however you see fit. If we forgot something, you want to reiterate something, but, make sure you mention your product, and so how people can get in touch with you too, okay?
Yeah, so like I said, our company's Patloc Safety Systems. We're based out of Watford City. You can come down and see us at 101 South Main in Watford City. It's right across from the Come and Go. You can't miss it. And come on down. We'll sit with you. Whether you want to work for us and get some sales going on, or anything, or you're looking for some work, we'll definitely talk to you. But Patloc, it's kind of a revolutionized, way of locking out and tagging out your pumping units. And it's great for workover rigs. It's great for all the oil producers. Anyone that is surrounded by basically pumping units, and we know they're all out there. Patloc's here for you. And as far as our devices, like I said, it's a mechanical device. no hot work permits. It's just a bolt-on system. It takes about 15 minutes to bolt on. Right now, we are doing a special, basically probably all year. I'm just going to push it all year. We're selling for $1,700 installed. So basically, you get it for around $1,500. We cover the $200 install charge. We can do it, or if you have roustabouts that you want to have them do it. Either way, we work with them. If you're an oil producer and you want to try us out, we give the first one out for free. And we'll come out and install it for you. You can play with it, and bring all your your pumpers, your safety guys, any of your employees to come out and check it out, play with it, and the best thing about our device, we're the only device on the market where you can put all the weight on that pawl, and our device, being this leverage based, we can pop it out. So remember, that's about 30,000 pounds of weight that you have on our pawl. Our device can pop it out. So think about that. You can reach, again, my name is Pat Young. You can reach me at 307-689-7002. You can also visit our website, patloc.com. That's PATLOC.com. And yeah, so we look very forward to hearing from anybody.